K-pop Demon Hunters. The biggest K-pop highlight of 2025 was not a comeback, not a debut, and not a world tour, but an animated Netflix film absolutely no one saw coming. K-pop Demon Hunters arrived on June 20th and completely rewrote what was considered possible for a K-pop-inspired project. In the 10 years since Netflix began releasing original films, none had ever been watched on this scale. Within its first 3 months, the film surpassed 325 million views and entered the top 10 in 93 countries, instantly placing it in a league of its own. The film was directed by Maggie Kang and Chris Appelhans and presented as an animated musical urban fantasy that blended K-pop, mythology, and action into something entirely new. It featured a stacked voice cast, including Arden Cho, An Hyo-sop, Lee Byung-hun, and many more. While the animation and visuals stood out immediately, the music was what truly turned the film into a global phenomenon. Golden became the defining moment, breaking records one after another. Originally sung in the film by Aji, Audrey Nuna, and Ray Ami, the song reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in August and stayed there for 8 consecutive weeks, but its impact went far beyond the charts. Golden turned into a full vocal challenge trend, with fans and artists alike taking part. Even established idols joined in, including Yoojin from IVE, Lily from NMIX, and Kwang from B2B, with many more using the song to showcase their vocal skill and control. But it was never just about one track. The full soundtrack reached number 1 on the Billboard 200 and surpassed 8.3 billion streams worldwide. It also became the first film soundtrack in history to place 4 songs simultaneously inside the Billboard Hot 100 Top 10. Alongside Golden, tracks like How It's Done, Your Idol, and Soda Pop dominated the charts. K-pop Demon Hunters did not just succeed, it changed how far a K-pop-inspired project could realistically go. BTS. For BTS, 2025 was not about releases or charts, but about finally standing together again after years apart. The group had been on hiatus since December 2022, when Jin became the first member to begin mandatory military service, followed by J-Hope and eventually all remaining members by December 2023. That chapter officially began to close when Sugar completed his service on June 21st, making all 7 members active again for the first time in years. Even during the break, the group never truly disappeared. Over the years, each member explored solo music and refined their own artistic identity, making their eventual reunion as BTS feel even more powerful. During a live stream, it was confirmed that BTS's next group album is planned for release in spring 2026. Alongside the album, the group also announced that they are preparing for a world tour in 2026. The members shared that they want to meet fans all around the world, and reports suggest it could be their biggest tour yet. With all 7 members reunited, a new album on the way, and a world tour ahead, 2025 did not mark a comeback just yet, but it marked the moment BTS truly came back together. Twice were everywhere in 2025, and it genuinely felt impossible to keep up. 10 years into their career, instead of slowing down, they somehow did everything at once. A massive world tour running all the way into the summer of 2026. A collaboration concert with Coldplay. A full Japanese album. A full Korean album. Dahyun's second movie released. Chaeyoung stepping into her solo debut. A documentary film. And somehow, the list still did not feel finished. For a group in their 10th year, Twice moved like a group at their peak, not one looking back on legacy. One of the most defining moments came on August 2nd, when Twice made history as the first K-pop girl group to headline Lollapalooza. From the moment they stepped on stage, the festival turned into a Twice concert. The group performed back-to-back songs for 90 minutes without any breaks, delivering choreography, live vocals, and stamina that stunned even audiences with no K-pop background. Many people walked in curious and left as fans. During the set, Jonghyun, Jihyo, and Chaeyoung also performed Takedown from K-pop Demon Hunters, a track they were featured on in the Netflix animated film. Adding to the spectacle was a massive drone show that filled the sky with different visuals, from Twice-related motifs to characters from the movie, before ending with the message, "The Han Moon is sealed." Another major highlight followed on October 15th, when Twice became the first K-pop group to ever perform at the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Jihyo, Nayeon, Momo, and Chewie appeared wearing pieces from the brand's pink line, and Chewie instantly went viral. The push-up bra she wore sold out shortly after, turning the performance into a fashion moment just as much as a music one. And as in once, I have to mention this as well. One of the most emotional moments came in November when Twice finally performed in Taiwan for the first time since debut. The whole city was even ready to welcome Chewie and her girls. Bringing the members to her home country after 10 years was not just a concert, it was a full-circle moment. In 2025, Twice did not just celebrate a decade in the industry, they showed exactly why they are still one of the most powerful groups in K-pop. Hwasa. Hwasa delivered one of the most striking solo moments of 2025 by doing what she has always done best, turning honesty into impact. The Mamamoo member and solo artist released Good Goodbye on October 15th, revealing a more tender and private side of herself. The song reflects a real-life breakup and carries a bittersweet message, wishing peace and happiness not only for herself, but also for her former partner. The response was immediate and powerful. Good Goodbye debuted at number 43 on the Billboard Global 200 and went straight to number 1 on the Billboard Korea Hot 100. Hwasa became the only solo female artist of 2025 to achieve a perfect all-kill, meaning the song ranked number 1 simultaneously across all major daily, weekly, and real-time Korean music charts. What made the release even more memorable was the music video. Actor Park Jong-min, Hwasa's longtime crush, played the role of her former lover in the story, adding an extra layer of emotional depth. Fans strongly felt the chemistry between them, praising how natural and intense their connection appeared on screen. That chemistry reached its peak during a live performance at the 46th Blue Dragon Film Awards, where Hwasa performed Good Goodbye alongside him on stage. The moment felt less like a music performance and more like a cinematic scene unfolding in real time. With Good Goodbye, Hwasa delivered one of the most iconic moments of 2025, closing the year with a sense of resolution and a quiet new beginning. Stray Kids. 2025 was another year where Stray Kids pushed their own limits and went beyond them. The bar continued to rise as their Dominate World Tour became the second most successful global tour of the year, ranking just behind Beyoncé according to Pollstar. That same momentum carried straight into their music releases. In November, Stray Kids dropped the mixtape Do It, and with it, they made chart history. The group became the first and only act ever to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200 with 8 consecutive album releases. That streak began in 2022 with Ordinary, and 3 years later, it was still going strong. At the 2025 Mama Awards, Stray Kids were announced as winners of Album of the Year, one of the ceremony's 4 Daesang Grand Prizes, for Karma. Alongside that, they also took home additional trophies, including Fans' Choice Male Top 10, a category decided entirely by fan votes. For stays around the world, this moment carried extra weight. It was Stray Kids' first Daesang at Mama, and it felt less like a sudden achievement and more like the result of years of hard work, creative control, and steady growth. In 2025, Stray Kids did not just maintain their momentum, they showed how far consistent effort can truly take them. Rookies. Like every year, the K-pop industry also introduced new rookies in 2025, but this time several of them felt especially distinctive from the very beginning. The year opened on January 7th with X-Love, a 4-member group under 257 Entertainment. From day one, they stood out through a bold genderless concept that challenged traditional idol norms, centered on self-expression and the confidence to be themselves. Less than 2 months later, on February 24th, SM Entertainment introduced Hearts to Hearts. The 8-member girl group leaned into a nostalgic and dreamy teenage core concept that felt soft, emotional, and refreshingly sincere. Their growing impact was later confirmed when they took home Best New Artist at the Mama Awards, marking them as a defining act of K-pop's next wave. On March 24th, Starship Entertainment brought a different kind of energy with Kiki, a 5-member girl group that leaned into a fresh and authentic image. The music video, I Do Me in particular, was praised for its relaxed aesthetic. The contrast to their senior group, IVE's elegant image helped them carve out a clear identity early on. On June 23rd, K-pop welcomed something it had been missing for a long time. All Day Project, a 5-member co-ed group under the Black label, made their debut and instantly felt refreshing simply by existing. Co-ed groups are rare in modern K-pop, and this group embraced that dynamic with confidence. The most explosive rookie moment came later in the year. On August 18th, Cordis debuted under Big Hit Music and immediately became one of the most talked about new groups of 2025. The 5-member boy group stood out through deep creative involvement, from songwriting to choreography. Even before debut, members Martin and James were already credited on songs for Illit and TXT. Their debut EP, Color Outside the Lines, became one of the best-selling rookie albums of the year, surpassing 1.19 million copies sold, and the group went on to win Best New Artist at the 2025 MAMA Awards. And this was just a small look at the many groups that made their debut in 2025, a year that clearly showed how diverse, confident, and well-prepared new artists in K-pop already are. Obviously, 2025 had way more highlights than just these. There were countless moments that shaped the year in different ways. Let me know in the comments what your personal K-pop highlight of 2025 was, and if there is a moment you think deserves more attention,